Welcome to Reimagining Short-Term Missions, a podcast that takes an honest yet hopeful look at the things that the church does in the name of missions. A podcast that seeks to inspire Christ followers to rethink the status quo of short-term missions and to forge a better way forward. We feature honest conversations with people from all over the world, those who go on mission trips and those who host them. And we don't shy away from tackling the hard and uncomfortable questions. Questions like, how can we learn about the history and culture of the people we go to serve? And even more importantly, how can we begin to build strong working relationships with our hosts before we go? How do we cultivate the humility among team members that helps us to work quietly alongside the people we visit, rather than assuming a role in the spotlight? Friends, there are better ways to love and serve the world, and it starts with courageous conversations. Welcome to Reimagining Short-Term Missions. Hey friends, Forrest Dinsley here, co-editor with Angel Burns of the book Reimagining Short-Term Missions. Recently, two of the book's contributors, David Sanon and Steph DeLuca Robinson, were asked to join a conversation with Dr. Lauren Pinkston on the Upwardly Dependent podcast. In this episode of the Reimagining Short-Term Missions podcast, you'll hear an abridged version of that conversation entitled The Other Side of the Story. A caregiver and resident share their orphanage tourism experiences. Now, in case you want to hear more episodes of the Upwardly Dependent podcast, you'll find a link to it in this episode's show notes.
When I was getting ready to start this season on reforming the care of orphans and vulnerable children, I knew that it was going to be critical to hear directly from people who were the caregivers of these children and what their experiences were like, to know how they saw short-term teams that were coming in, touring orphanages, how they saw the role of foreigners that were coming to invest in their communities. And I am so thrilled today that I have two people with me from Conbit, Haiti, to share a little bit about this experience. First, we have David Sanon from Haiti himself. He's visiting the US right now. So he is in person with Steph DeLuca Robinson, who has co-founded this organization with several other friends of theirs in Haiti. And they're together today. They're going to be joining this conversation. And I'm so excited to really dive into the understanding of the other side of the story of caregivers and residents as they experience orphanage tourism. So David, Steph, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having us. Yeah.
I've already given David permission to correct my terrible attempts at French Creole. And so as we go through the language, you may hear different language and different words that are spoken throughout our conversation. We're going to go through this conversation with some translation, thanks to Steph. But I think it's really important that we capture the words and the experiences in the language that is the heart language of people. And so we're going to lean heavily into that space today. All right, David, Steph, you guys met years and years ago. Okay. When, we won't put a timestamp on it because you guys are still young, but when you first met, tell me about that interaction, how you got to know each other, and where your relationship left after that time.
Well, we met, a long time ago. Actually, it was my first trip to Haiti with my husband and David. We met David, I think the second day we were in Haiti. Mm-hmm. He was playing drums at a church, and he accompanied us on our mission trip. We were there for 3 months initially, and then we basically moved back after that. But we went and served at an orphanage with David for basically 3 months. During that time, it was 2010, so it was right after the earthquake. There was a lot of instability going on. And so, like many people, I thought that the best option for a lot of children was for them to be placed in institutions in Haiti. So we've grown since then a lot. We worked together at the orphanage for about 5 years. And then our organization Combi kind of started out of that need that we saw. We just started having a lot of intense conversations about maybe what families needed instead of institutions.
Yeah, no rencontre ça te un bagay qui te funny. No lem te we Ryan et puis Steph et puis they dit oh des jeunes monde mariés, wow, ça belle. Quand il y a depuis les ça, devine commencer content amis yo, m'te vle amis yo. Et puis nous te ces gens Steph dit nous te commencé travail comme si marcher avec yo aller dans orphelinat.
Yeah, when I met Steph and Ryan, it was very funny. I saw them and I thought, oh, I'd like to be their friends because they're married. And so we became friends, and then we worked together on a number of projects, but one of them was the orphanage, and we started going there for several years.
And tell me, oh, sorry, go ahead, David.
You can.
It's okay. I'm curious about the name Convit, because the way that we name our organizations really drives a lot of the heartbeat behind what we do. So tell me about the word Convit and what that means for you and why you started an organization called this.
Yeah, Combit dans pays moi Haïti. Là nous dit Combit, nous parler de c'est un groupe monde qui mettait tête ensemble pour travailler ensemble.
When we talk about Combit in my country, in Haiti, it means a group of people who put their heads together and work towards finding a solution for a problem.
Nous t'es venu avec nous ça parce que nous t'es senti travailler ensemble, c'est clé la vie. So n'importe ça nous besoin faire, nous besoin travailler ensemble. Ça veut dire n'importe gens et nous prend exemple Jésus-Christ. Jésus-Christ t'es besoin faire tout, l'elle t'est venu sur terre, t'es besoin faire tout bagaille, il était pour un groupe monde, un groupe disciple ensemble avec lui.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
He said we decided to name Combit Haiti this name because we believe that this is the key to making anything work. We have to work together. We have to put our heads together. We have to bring our gifts together and really focus on that, really whatever the goal is. And an example is, I mean, even Jesus himself came and got a group of people together and said, okay, how can we put our heads together and do this thing, bring the kingdom of God to earth? And we really started, I think you agree with us, like we worked in an orphanage for a really long time, and we were seeing that families were not being supported or uplifted. And we thought, what if we could support families before they got to that place? And I think we've seen a lot of success with that, right? Yeah.
Super. You know, I think because the United States is so close to the island that holds Haiti and the Dominican Republic, you see a lot of short-term trips that are focused on going there. I myself, went to Haiti for the first time in college and have many friends who work in the Dominican Republic. There is as the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, there are a lot of ideas about Haiti and what can be done there or what should be done there. What would you say is maybe misunderstood about the Haitian people and the way that you see community?
Yeah, nous-mêmes, moi qu'a dit moi-même, moi pas passer dans orphelinat. Moi pas passer dans orphelinat, mais l'MT Timon dans l'école moi, ça mon ka partager. Can I share my?
Yeah, you can. He wants to know if he can share his story now.
If you are willing, that would be wonderful. I don't want to assume that it is my right to know, but I would love to listen to anything you're willing to share.
Okay. Moi pas levé dans orphelinat, mais depuis longtemps moi content de l'MT Timon, content de orphelinat. So l'MT l'école et étant que Timon, m'pa vle aller trop long. Étant que Timon, moi te konn pile équipe vini.
Yeah, he's saying, first of all, speaking to your comment about teams, he said he didn't grow up in an orphanage, but he was at a school that was associated with one. And there was a constant wave of teams that came in to see him at the schools, just to see the children.
Parfois, dans la compréhension, pendant que je grand, ça me comprend, et gens équipe vini, c'est pas comme ça, nous-mêmes, nous recevoir équipe. Après, équipe la vini dans le sens, oh, ok, j'ai besoin de venir orphelinat, j'ai besoin de venir orphelinat Haïti. Mais nous-mêmes qui timon, nous avons dit, ok, blanc vini, Jésus vini.
Wow. He said he's understanding more, obviously, as an adult, but when he was younger, teams would come in and they would even think that they were orphans, and they would say, oh, we're here to see the orphans, we're here to see the orphans. And he thought, and all the kids thought, okay, great, the foreigners are here, Jesus is here, God's here, we need to stop what we're doing. So often their lessons would be interrupted and they would have to stop and receive the visitors.
Yeah,
Can I ask a clarifying question about that? What was it that connected your minds with the foreigners with Jesus in those moments?
Ces gens et l'idée, tant que moi-même pour m'entrer dans l'histoire moi, ces gens l'idée yo présenter nous blanc. Ça c'est gens l'idée yo dit nous.
Est-ce que vous voulez moi dire blanc ou vous voulez moi dire étranger?
On peut dire étranger, on peut dire blanc, mais plus souvent c'est blanc qui toujours.
Okay, no, that's important. I'm going to explain that to her really fast.
Okay.
He said it's how the leader presented themselves. So they were always white. That's what I was asking. I said, well, is it a foreigner, like a stranger, or was it a white person? He said, well, you can say whatever, but they were always white. That was the conversation we just had. And they presented themselves as they were here as God.
Moi prends exemple pour me dire Jésus vini c'est comme si moi pas dans orphelinat même l'école. Depuis blanc pral vini yo dit non, OK, blanc pral vini là, OK, nous besoin faire tel bagage, et puis like nous supposer comme si like, comme ça.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Et puis nous besoin prêt pour les blancs venir pour nous apprendre, même les nous t'es fâché, et puis pour nous gagnons chant, nous toujours chanter pour les blancs venir, pour blancs sentir, OK, moi venir pour là, ils sont contents, même les nous pas contents exactement.
Okay, so it was very obvious that the leaders wanted to be received in a very specific way, and we all picked up on that. And when they would come, it was like, okay, the Blancs are here. That's what we call white people. The Blancs are here. We need to stop what we're doing. We need to focus. We can't do anything bad. We need to make sure that we're here for them, that we're ready to receive them. And he had a song that he needed to sing in English that he didn't even know what it meant until much later. But it was as if, okay, God's here. There's an opportunity. I need to be on my best behavior. It was just from a very young age, paternalism, really.
Yeah, ça c'est façon ça me expliquer comme si Jean l'école blanc t'es représenté pour nous. Yeah, ça c'est façon me dire ça.
Yeah, growing up, that's really how Blancs and visiting teams were represented to children of Haiti. These are your saviors. These are the people that are going to help.
Yes.
You better get in with them and you better be presentable to them.
Honnêtement, moi pas de jambe libre. Pas de jambe libre pour comme si pour me dire qui ça moi bien, qui ça me sentir.
Oh, David.
Yeah, me supposé dire ça yo vle me dire.
I'm gonna get emotional. He said that honestly, he never felt free to say, this is who I am. This is what I need. This is what's going on. This is whatever. He always felt like he needed to say what they needed to hear. So that's challenging.
Ça c'est ça qui fait me penser comme si tout le monde pensait ça c'est oh bon Dieu là, bénédiction là.
He said all the kids, it's like anytime there's a foreigner walking by, oh, that's God. You better be on your best behavior.
Wow. I am so grateful that you're willing to share this part, because I think when we talk about the issue of the white savior, I think a lot of people, especially Christians in North America, they feel that that was a phrase that was made up by someone to make them feel guilty for being white. But you are explaining your life experience in a way that links those words with really the behaviors that you picked up on as a child. Is that fair?
Yeah, oui. Ça c'est vérité.
He said, yeah, that's the truth.
When can you think back to where you first started to, and this is assuming that you're here now, but started to believe that God could exist in other races and in other nationalities and in other languages, that it wasn't white people from other countries that owned the gospel?
Yeah, mwen map vini se kesyon ou, men mwen explike sa pou mdo, jan, yo pa di nou blanc, se bon Dieu, men yo fè nou kom si jan yo fè nou ye nou santi. Et ça c'est bon Dieu qui là. Konya moi-même moi pas dans orphelinat. Moi ka senti ça, konya moi dit OK, et ti moun qui dans orphelinat. Parce que yo vraiment besoin foreigner pour aider yo. Moi-même moi te kon payer l'école, moi yo te kon faire ça pour me joindre bourse, scholarship. Moi ka dit et pour ti moun yo qui dans orphelinat qui fait mais yo ka faire plus bagay. Yo ka senti pi mal ke moi.
Yeah. He wants to acknowledge first that he knows that his experience as a student wasn't as bad as children in orphanages. He thinks a lot of that was really good. A lot of the ways that Haitians view Americans and American Christians who come on teams is that it's not that they're saying, you know, I'm a white savior, I'm a savior, I'm God. It's the way that it's really because they want to love and serve, but it is with an agenda and with strings attached. And what he was saying about the orphanage is that he thinks people in orphanages struggled even more with that, because he was just a student getting help for a scholarship. But, you know, and orphanages depend on a lot of times teams to just even eat.
Yes.
So when did you start to see that God wasn't in that God was with you in Haiti?
Moi son moun ki leve l'église, mais compréhension ça yo mette dans tête moi, te kon fè me penser, même Jean yo dit de l'eau c'est la vie, blanc c'est la vie, ça c'est ça, comme si nous te levé les nous ti moun.
Wow. Hold on, let me translate that.
Yeah.
When he was growing up in church, he heard the message a lot. Water is life, blancs are life.
Yeah, ça c'est ça yo kon mette dans tête. Non, c'est pas ça yo dit non, mais yo dit OK, mes amis, blanc pral vini. Et ça c'est ça on paquet bagay.
It's the way you had to stop everything when a team would come, right? It's like you couldn't live your life. The team kept coming.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's what he's saying. It's like there was a constant, even as an adult, as a child, when a team came, I had to stop everything, essentially, and serve them.
Moi vin converti, et puis me connais exactement qui blanc, pas bon Dieu. Et moi connais bon Dieu béni blanc, et puis blanc béni quelques haïtiens. Mais ça pas veut dire blanc c'est bon Dieu. Moi connais ça très bien, mais ça te fait comparer ça, c'est parce que yo montré nous comme ça. Donc même gens on passe à prêcher. Et dit non Jésus et comme ça tout, et c'est même bagaille là nous ka faire comparaison.
Yeah.
Avec ça.
When he became a Christian in his early 20s, he really started reading the Bible for what it is and realized, no, like white people, foreigners are not saviors, they're not God. But God sometimes blesses them and they have a heart to try and help other people in Haiti.
But they are not God.
But they're not God.
They're not good. It's very generous of you to say that, David, especially with the experiences that you have had. I feel like I need to just pause and give a formal apology to you and an awareness to you that on my first trip to Haiti, I was 19. And I remember being on a team. Our t-shirts were turquoise, and we had the outline of the nation of Haiti with the words, God loves you, I believe was what was on the t-shirt. And there were cameras pointing everywhere outside of the truck that I was riding on. And I felt so uncomfortable. And this was my first time there. And I thought, this is very off. There's something that, I need to process here with the way that we're engaging with people who share our same blood, our same skin, our same body processes. And I haven't always done that well. And I haven't always done that well in Haiti. So I want to acknowledge that.
Yeah. You just validate histoire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty common. And so,
yeah. And you're mentioning, you were growing up in a church there. We weren't taking God to Haiti like so many people said, because God was very much there. He was very much a part of the communities there. As you were in the school and you were growing up in a family, but you were sponsored to go to a school, what did you notice about attachment for children who were being raised, especially in the orphanage, as they saw teams come and go? How do you see that affecting a person's attachment to the people that they love?
So like for me, remember we were working at the orphanage and we thought, well, we're not short-termers because we go there almost every day, but we weren't there every day. We weren't there like to comfort children when they were crying. We weren't there to help them, do their homework. We just were there every day. At some point we would do some chores, and we felt like, yeah, I mean, as we have this conversation, it's just important for all of us to realize, like, I think even David would say he did some things wrong in that too. Like we all have learned so much, and it's, I mean, towards the end, those children were calling us, you remember, like mom and dad, and they were not our children, even though we loved them. And it became increasingly obvious to us that we were greatly disrupting their attachment. We were there when other teams would come. We ourselves brought teams there, and they would hold the kids and then they would leave. And it was just like those children were getting re-abandoned. Like they had already been abandoned by their parents, who felt like they had no other option. And then this just added to that. And then it makes children do like what you said. Remember, there were so many kids at the orphanage that felt like they had to act a certain way so that the teams wouldn't leave.
Yeah, exactement ça ou dit, mais qu'a dit quelquefois nous qu'a senti parce que nous kon mène team tant que j'en dis nous kon mène team na orphelinat pour garder jouer à team moun kon remen ouais team yo kon remen comme si joindre l'amour qui partage avec eux pour une semaine. Mais quand y a là après ça pas dit tout orphelinat, mais il y a quelques orphelinats qui n'ont pas joindre l'amour ça continuel. L'amour ça pas continuer.
Yeah. He's saying, yeah, it's exactly like that. And the problem is that kids really love and playing with teams and being held and being comforted. The problem is that they leave and they don't receive that love from the same person again. And so they are kind of back to square one.
Yeah, yo gen, m'ka di yon, ti moun nan orphelinat yo gen pile blanc passé devant yo, en pile blanc. Passé et puis yo besoin, yeah, Ça qui compte triste, c'est comme si en pile là dedans gen parents et puis yo vin chita dans position comme ça et puis pour attendre équipe vini pour jouer avec eux pendant ce temps parents yo te ka remen yo me connais pas remen yo mais yo te ka recevoir l'amour chaque jour dans mes parents yo.
Whew. So
Et-
yes. Hold on, let me translate that. That was good. Yeah, so what we have in Haiti is a system where people are in orphanages waiting for teams to come. Sometimes they'll come, I mean, a different team every week. There's so many teams coming to these orphanages. And what perhaps people don't know is that most of these kids have parents who love them, and they could receive love from their parents every day, all the time. Doesn't end when they're 18.
Mhm.
And that is what's so sad about it. That's what he just said.
Ya, les comme ça, et si moun yo vin comme si pas gen stabilité dans tête yo.
Yeah.
Yo pas vraiment stable. Mais les yo, tant qu'on te met yon parent, te ka leve yo, ça ka arrive que yo ouais, foreigner te ka supporter yo la ka yo. Et m'pense ça te ka yon pi bon bagay pour yo parce que chaque semaine, on monde différent. A bay l'amour différent. C'est pas même l'amour. Yeah.
Preach it. Yeah.
Ça dit.
It's really difficult. It's really sad and it's really hard because in Haiti it is it's almost like a business. It's a complex. People come every week, and it's different people every week, and it makes the children really unstable in their minds. It makes the children really unstable in the way that they receive love. And what perhaps is better is when we can support a parent, even if it's just a single family or a single parent household. We can help them go to school, we can help them with their house, and that way that child can receive the same love every day.
Parce que plus gros raison qu'on fait un parent bay petit li nan orphelinat, c'est parce qu'il pas ka bal manger, il pas ka aller l'école.
So the biggest reason that children in Haiti end up in orphanages is because the parents just simply cannot send their child to pay for school, send their child to school, or give them food.
And please, David, thank you.
Yeah, ça moi, tant que m'ka di un petit bagay, ça c'est nan moi. M'senti supporter yon ti moun nan orphelinat ka paret pi cher que supporter yon ti moun avec maman ni. Pendant ce temps, maman ni ka toujours supporter li, maman ni joine support pour juste compléter ça li gen. Tant que exemple si maman ou bien papa fait $10 non mois. Et puis les jeunes supporters qui ba li $10, ça vient faire $20. Mais qu'on y a pour supporter un petit monde orphelinat qu'on a besoin, orphelinat besoin jeune $20 sorti. Mais pour supporter un parent, on besoin $10 pour supporter un petit monde. You know?
Yeah.
M'pa connait se comprendre ça me dit.
Yeah. Numbers. Basically, he said the last thing he wants to say right now about this is that it's actually even more expensive to keep children in orphanages. When you are supporting a parent with their child, they can take that money and they can invest it in a business. They can make it, they can stretch it. They know what their child needs. And when you give an orphanage money, they just meet the needs of the children, and that's it. That's all they have time to do. That's all they can do. And it's so much more expensive.
Yeah. Orphelinat yo bay ti moun sa yo vle bay ti moun.
Yeah, and they also
parents bay ti moun sa ti moun ta reme et puis sa yo vle bay ti moun yo too. So na orphelinat ti moun pa gen choix.
In orphanages, kids really don't have choices. So a lot of times if a foreigner thinks that, especially a foreigner funded orphanage, if a foreigner thinks that an orphan needs something, then that is the program that they're going to run. That's the food they're going to give them. When it's a parent, the parent knows their child, they know what they need, they have choices. There's a little bit more autonomy there. I think that's good.
Liberté. You get liberté kay maman yo. Please liberté.
Yeah. They have a better experience in their mom's house.
In Haiti, children who grow up in orphanages and child servitude systems are often forgotten once they age out at 18. When released, many youth lack the education, life skills, and emotional maturity to live a functional life of independence. Since 2013, Emmaus House has been standing in the gap for orphaned youth in Haiti. Rooted in Christian family settings, we provide holistic care to help youth 18 and older heal from their pasts, be equipped for today, and find empowerment for tomorrow. This holiday season, we'd love for you to join us. Shop our holiday catalog for gifts that will directly impact the lives of orphan youth in Haiti who are working hard towards a better future. Simply go to EmmausHouseHaiti.org/holiday catalog to give your gift today. And to learn more about Emmaus House, check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Emmaus House Haiti.
I mean, that seems so obvious, especially to those of us as parents. I have 4 children, and when I make dinner and I am putting food on each plate, I do it a little bit differently for each person at the table because I know their palate. I know what they like, how spicy they like things, or what toppings they like on things. And that is lost when you're lined up to just get a plate of food. I have chills a little bit just thinking about how simple and what a simple thing to show love to someone, and that I know your taste buds. I know what you like and what you don't like, and how that's lost in an institution.
It really is.
Yeah.
And we're conditioning them, when an orphanage is done serving a child, usually they're about 18, and now we're conditioning them to accept whatever they're given, to have poor attachment styles to people, to not have any autonomy over their own life. We're not really setting even if you put them in a trade school when they're 18, they've still had, 18 years of no choices, on somebody else's schedule, doing what other people want them to do, not having connection with their community. It's very challenging and sad.
Mm-hmm. And it almost sends the message that you only have value when you are a small child, that once you are, and you're 18 or you're an adult, what do you do? And I'm hearing this from a lot of kids who grow up in care, especially those who are adults now who grew up in orphanages. It's the same in the United States with kids who are coming out of the foster care system. And we see, depending on what state you're in, 60 to sometimes 90% of the victims of sex trafficking in the United States coming directly out of the foster care system. What do you see in Haiti with the kids who are aging out of care? What are some of those challenges that maybe are not talked about?
Yeah, we have seen, firsthand, there's a lot of sexual abuse in orphanages. Just when you have, that's just what's going to happen when you have mixed genders and it's understaffed. And, there's not a lot of oversight, especially at night. And then that continues to prime people, especially young girls, but boys too, to essentially, it really grooms them for exploitation as soon as they're done, because the orphanage that we worked with, you turn 18 and that's it. Go find your people. And they have been separated for, 6, 8, 10, 18 years from their parents. And they're saying, okay, I don't have any people, I don't have a job, I don't know what to do. And so it makes it very easy for people. So where we live in Haiti, it's a beach town. So there's a lot of people who have beach homes, who are wealthy, who have money, and they will approach, they'll approach a girl and say, do you want to go to school? Do you want to feed yourself? Do you want to do this? And that leads down the road of sex trafficking as well. So, it's astronomical, the numbers coming out of the whole world, but Haiti particularly, just because of the amount of orphanages there, the amount of people that are being trafficked and exploited when they are done with their time at an orphanage.
This is something that I want to make sure that the church in America understands, is that our money and our resources, it's very important how we use that. And the same people who are going to fund an orphanage in Haiti are the same people who would be horrified by the issue of human trafficking, by the issue of loneliness and isolation as, you know, a young adult. And we need to draw that line of connection for them that, and you're helping us do that by sharing exactly what you're seeing in your backyard. Once the cute 7-year-old, you know, that's on our refrigerator is grown, and she becomes a young woman who needs a sustainable job, a good career. How have we set her up for success? And you're saying the best way to do that is by allowing her to stay with her family and supporting her family to give her what she needs.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no question.
No.
And it just starts so much earlier, right? And you mentioned isolation too. I'm sure some of your other guests have shared like the amount of suicides that come out of children who age out. They just feel alone. They feel scared. They feel like they don't have any options, and they've been oftentimes very separated from their communities. So it's not, oftentimes I've been to orphanages in Haiti where children speak English because that's what they've been taught to do. They go outside those gates when they turn 18. They almost can't even speak the language of their own country to their own people. So it's very important, and people do want to help. I mean, they do. And I find that when we share this information with people, they're very quick to be like, oh my gosh, why didn't I know this? You know, it's, and so, you know, obviously when you pour your heart and soul into something like an orphanage for a long time, there's also some reverb, but yeah, we really support children and families, and that's what we aim to do with Combit too, right? You want to add anything to that?
No.
Well, let's switch to that, because, you know, the last thing that I want anyone to feel in listening to this is a paralyzing guilt. I was talking with a friend this morning, and she said knowledge can be paralyzing just as much as it can be inspiring. And I don't want anyone to hear this conversation and feel like, oh, well, we just have really messed up and I feel guilty and I can't do anything anymore. You guys are offering an alternative to the orphanage system. You're offering something different than children being institutionalized for care. So tell us a little bit about how you work with families and why you're so passionate about that.
Pour qui ça le plus important pour nous supporter une famille? Et c'est parce que nous connaissons bon, un petit monde besoin grandir en bas et famille, parents. Et puis, nous, moi, il est nécessaire, que ça me veut dire.
So why we support children and families is because we really believe that a family is the best place for a child to grow. A child needs the love and support of a family.
Yeah. Nous, bon, m'ka di, tant qu'on ka, si m'ta vle fonti, citer non orphelinat encore. Orphelinat, li aide quelques ti moun, pas ka di 100% li pa aide. Parce que gen ti moun ki vraiment orphelin, vraiment. Et puis, mais moi-même, nous plus quoi, nan chercher une famille qui pas gagné. En tant que, par exemple, un ti moun qui pas gagné ni maman ni papa. Et puis, ou vle aider li. Gen un pile famille qui t'a aimé gen un petit monde comme si haïtien qui t'a aimé gen un petit monde comme si li comment relé ça adoption. Gen haïtien qui fait adoption tout. Ou t'a essayé chercher une famille ou faire prendre soin petit monde ça tant que c'est la caille. Yeah, ça c'est temps pour nous aller supporter on fait avec un groupe petit monde. Moi le plus important pour tout le monde lever avec un parent qui lui connaît OK, même là c'est adoption mais
Yeah. Wants to clarify, like, yeah, some orphanages do help meet the physical needs of children. Sometimes there really are kids who are in need, but the overarching thing is that children do need families, and that doesn't have to be a biological family. Anybody who adopts, whether it's international or local or an aunt or an uncle, that still is providing a family structure for that child, which we believe is the best solution.
Yeah.
And what we do with Combi is we call them wraparound services. So we help families with everything from clean drinking water and sanitation to we have a really big after school program and camp. We do sponsorships for kids that are Haitian driven. The foreigners don't pick who goes to school and who doesn't. We do a lot of business training. We have a mother's program, and all of those things we believe really help and empower families.
I think that a lot of people who visit Haiti may feel very overwhelmed. I hear this from people who travel there and they come home and they just feel so overwhelmed. I remember in a couple of times that I've visited, I just thought, what was I thinking, why did I think that I would be able to do anything good in 7 days? That was so silly of me. And I was very just overwhelmed with the need. And it comes from decades and decades and decades of international involvement in the country, getting involved in your politics, getting involved in your peacemaking, getting involved in even bringing, the history of bringing Haitians to the island, to work on sugar plantations in the beginning and then leaving after a slave revolt. I mean, there's just so much history there. I want to know, because I'm stubborn enough to believe that any problem can be fixed and anything has hope of being redeemed. When you think about your community and you think about what's possible and you think about what you're seeing, what comes to mind, and what do you want to see for Haiti in your lifetime?
Yeah, m vle Haiti mwen apel, pis m vle wè apel bagay. Men, spesifikman m vle wè ti moun gen akse pou ale l'ekol. Ti moun ka grandi a fami yo. M vle wè yon Haiti kote tout moun respekte tout moun.
It's so good. I don't want to forget something that you're saying.
Yeah.
He sees a lot of change for Haiti, and he wants to see more change in Haiti. He wants to see kids going to school, kids being raised with their families, and Haiti getting respected internationally as its own country.
Yeah, m vle wè pou chaque moun ka jwen travay pou supporte tet yo, paske sa difisil. Sa se yon nan pi gros problem nou genyen. De fwa moun nan ka travay, men li pa ka soti a cause insécurité pou al nan jaden ni. Soit li pa jwen travay. M vle tout ti moun tal l'école ki apren yon bagay, m vle pou yo ka travay nan profesyon yo.
He'd love to see more job creation in Haiti. It's one of the biggest needs, especially right now with the ongoing insecurity. People can't even tend to their own gardens necessarily without risk. And he'd love, so many times there are people who want to work and they just simply can't find a job. And without that, they can't support their families as well. They can't support themselves. He wants to see children go to school and then learn a profession and be able to support themselves as well.
Said
he wants to see everybody smiling and happy. Yeah, Haiti's had a rough couple of years, but I will say, because David won't brag on himself and my other friends that are still in Haiti doing this work won't. I'm pretty much constantly blown away at the tenacity of people in Haiti. And I hate saying that they're strong, because who wants to be that strong all the time? But we say all the time to each other, Haitians can change Haiti.
Yeah.
And we believe that. I know obviously I'm not Haitian, but that is why we do kind of as I told you before we started recording, I'm like, that's why we do the boring work, because that's what we can do. And Haitians are changing. They see the problems. They know what their community needs. And even in the middle of gangs and crisis, we had a 5-week summer camp that served like over 300 families. I don't know, I don't want to tell your story too much, but he's experienced a lot of violence over the last few months, even as he tried to help people get access to clean drinking water while cholera has started again. Haiti is full of good, caring, hardworking image bearers. And that is the Haiti that I know. I know the Haiti you know. And it's people like David, it's people like my friend Clelly, Daniela, people who we've started this with that are going to continue to be the catalyst for change there.
And it's important, David, that we leave this audio exactly as it is on this recording, because I want anyone who speaks Creole as their native language to hear the strength in your voice, to hear the boldness in the way that you speak honestly to those who have in some ways colonized your nation and kept you from being able to rise because of our influence and the way that we have not asked how you would like for us to walk alongside of you. I hope that churches who are listening to this, people who have an ear with their church leaders, and take your words to them and say, we can do this better. We can partner with Haitians better, and we can support families. That's the way forward. And so I'm really grateful for your willingness to speak so honestly today with words that we all need to hear, because your experience is real. And I would say that it is a majority experience that a lot of people have had, but maybe have not had an audience from people who look like me.
C'est un plaisir pour moi pour me partager sur ça.
He said, thank you so much for having him. It was really a pleasure for him to just share. I mean, I definitely think we all could listen a little bit more for sure. So thank you so much for providing that space.
Oh, absolutely. And we will share all of your links here, and we'll share as much as we can to direct people to your work. Thank you for stepping out in courage and giving your life for your neighbors. That is all we can ask for of us, in the US, for those in Spain, for those in Cambodia, wherever we are. It's just pouring our lives out for our neighbors. You're doing that beautifully.
You've been listening to the Reimagining Short-Term Missions podcast. If you want to explore more diverse and challenging perspectives like this, check out Reimagining Short-Term Missions, which includes chapters written by our podcast guests and from many more STM innovators from around the world. Angel Burns is the book's co-editor, and our podcast producer is Heath Hollinsby. Friends, what we need now is nothing short of a revolution in short-term missions. So please help us spread the word by sharing this podcast with others of like heart and mind. This is the time for reimagining short-term missions.